Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to another First Impressions video for Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. We'll be taking a look at the Cree Civilization today. This is the fourth announced civilization, the fifth leader for Rise and Fall. So we've only got about 4 to go after this, but this one looks pretty cool. So let's get this thing started.
Poundmaker leads the Cree in Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. He ruled his people during a tumultuous time in Cree history, judiciously towing the line between aggression and diplomacy. Today, he is remembered for his work to secure peace between the Cree and Canadian government. The Cree's unique ability is Nikihk. They receive their first trade route when they research pottery. The first time a trader moves into an unclaimed tile within 3 tiles of a Cree city, that tile is claimed.
All right, there's 2 parts of this bonus that we need to talk about. The first part is the fact that they get that first trader in pottery. Being able to get your first trader through science as opposed to culture is a huge bonus for a lot of civilizations, because most people probably aren't focusing quite as much on culture in the early game as they are on science. It's just easier to get the science. There's a lot of important things related to science. So being able to get that first trade route through that, plus it's one of the very, very first techs you can grab. So you're gonna be able to get that just easily from the get-go, using a tech, going for a tech that you normally are going to go for anyway, pottery. So I like that a lot. That's going to make it a lot easier to get that first trade route out, running around, and getting that early trade route, in the first 10 turns or so, something like that. It's really going to help it pay for itself. It's going to help it, if you have another city set up, it's going to help you get a whole lot of early production and food very, very early in the game. The earlier you get a trade route going, the better for sure. The other part of this bonus is the fact that you can claim tiles as the trade route moves through. Now, you can only claim up to 3 tiles away. That's still pretty significant. So claiming 3 tiles away, now granted, you're not going to be able to necessarily pick and choose which tiles you're claiming. I mean, like in this example right here, this picture right here, it's not like you can claim these horse tiles necessarily, because, I mean, the trade route's not going to go through there. It's going to go on its predetermined path to the next city. Now, if there's a city way down here to the south, maybe you could have sent it through there and you might have gotten lucky enough that it would have passed through there in some way, but you're not going to use it for that, most likely. I mean, occasionally you're going to be able to get a good tile from that, but getting any tiles for your city for free without having to spend culture to expand there is always going to be a good thing. It's going to increase the probability of you getting a good tile into your city sooner. Plus, the other added bonus here, and we're going to actually see a little bit more of a better example of this, I think, later in the video. The other bonus of here is that you're going to be able to cut off people. Let's say you wanted to settle cities up to the north of this trade route right here. You're gonna be able to cut through here. I mean, obviously they can maybe go through the city-state here. So let's pretend that's another city. That's your city sitting over there. And, obviously right now we have open borders, so maybe this isn't the best example. But later in the game, when you've got closed borders and you're sending this thing across, you can be able to cut off a portion of land so that people can't get through there, and you can be able to just kind of preserve that stuff for yourself. And it's really going to be a huge benefit to be able to block people from settling some of the better land that you want to settle later on. You can be able to use it strategically in that way pretty heavily. So let's keep going with the video.
The Cree's unique improvement is the Mekewap. This provides housing and production, as well as gold when adjacent to a luxury resource, and food when adjacent to bonus resources.
All right, so the Mekewap here, nothing super exciting necessarily. It's similar to a lot of other civilizations' unique improvements. You're going to get housing from it. You're going to get production from it. And then if it's next to bonus or luxury resources, you're going to get, either food or gold, respectively. So it's a good improvement to have everywhere you can possibly have it. But again, we've seen stuff like this before. So it's not necessarily, like I said, not very exciting, but still a very, very useful improvement. It's going to be a very, very strong one to have probably early in the game. I think I saw the symbol on it on pottery, so I'm assuming that it comes along with pottery, and you'll be able to have this and be able to really kind of get some of that early game going pretty quickly.
Their unique unit is the Ohtli. This reconnaissance unit replaces the scout, but receives a free promotion and has additional combat strength.
All right, so the Nikihk here has 20 melee strength, which, let's jump over to a civilization game real quick. We've got a game of Aztecs pulled up. They actually get an early game replacement unit as well. Of course, theirs replaces the warrior. Their unit starts with 28 strength. So, yeah, okay, stronger than the Nikihk, but that makes sense because the Nikihk is a scout. So this replacement unit should be stronger. But if we compare that to just the normal warrior, let's see, normal warriors have 20 melee strength. So the Wichita is going to be able to hold its own against basically every other civilization other than the Aztecs, starting melee unit, the warrior. So plus it's going to be able to hold its own against barbarians, which is another kind of significant thing for your scouts. They're always getting jumped by barbarians and things like that. So having that 20 melee strength is actually pretty strong in this early game. Plus that early promotion means it's going to be able to grab one of those move through forest or move through hills faster promotions and be able to get through those a lot quicker, going to let you scout a lot more. And then plus it also gets it closer towards the later promotions, which, increase its melee strength as well and make it even stronger in that regard. So it's going to be a really, really good unit to have. But I mean, it's not like necessarily game changing, but it's maybe a melee unit that, again, is able to scout better, but also potentially, I mean, you might as well just be training those. There's no reason to train warriors unless you're planning on upgrading them, later on down the road, give them some early game experience. But, in the early game, it's possible, as the Cree, you're just training a whole bunch of those scouts, scouting around and using those as your military force. I mean, I don't know. It's not the worst idea in the world. Again, you don't get a lot of the same promotion paths as warriors do, so you might not want to exclusively do that. But using your scouts in early game conquest, it probably would work just fine. And you're going to then have them to be able to scout around as well. So kind of an interesting take on things. I like it. I like having the early game scout that's a little bit stronger. Actually, I wish all scouts were a little bit stronger, to be perfectly honest. But I think I'm okay with this. And again, getting those early promotions to be able to move around faster is pretty cool. So let's keep going.
Poundmaker's unique ability is favorable terms.
All right, so let's look at this screen for just a second. So favorable terms here. All alliances, I know she's about to say this again, but all alliances provide shared visibility. Shared visibility. That means you can be able to see, the entire map. Now, for one, I actually thought all alliances currently provided shared visibility, but maybe that's in current game and they're going to change that, and the way the alliances can be split up in different alliances in the future. I don't know, but still, okay, shared visibility, cool. Whether it's in the game currently for all alliances or not, it's a nice to have, not a gotta have to have. So it's a cool feature. But then you also get the trade routes grant +1 food in the sitting words are hard. All trade routes grant Poundmaker +1 food in the sending city per camp or pasture in the receiving city. And then trade routes grant Poundmaker +1 gold in the receiving city per camp or pasture in the receiving city. So obviously, camps or pastures in the city that you're trading with are very, very important. But then getting that plus food, plus gold, that's going to help you out a lot, especially since you got an early trade route. If you could find one of those early civilizations, pops out a couple pastures or camps, which, maybe you're not going to get one in the first 10 turns, but you're going to find one pretty quickly. And being able to get some of that early golden food early on is going to be pretty nice. So the other thing I noticed here, I'm just kind of looking at this real quick, is the +1 trade route capacity from pottery. The thing she did not say explicitly, and I don't know, maybe they took this out and it's just still on the right up here, is that it says it gives you a free trader with the pottery tech as well. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it kind of looked like from the graphic, like as they were playing through, that as soon as they got pottery, they also had a trader sitting there. It's possible that they've taken the free trader out and you only get, maybe they just bought one with gold just to show it off real quick. But getting that free trader along with the extra trader out capacity, that's a pretty nice bonus. I mean, not having to spend the time to train that trader while you're trying to focus on, getting a settler out or getting some workers out or whatever else you're trying to do in that very first city, would be pretty nice. So we'll see if that stays in the game, or if they kind of like just kept you with the trader at capacity and you have to build your own trader later on, which either way would probably be fine, although it would be really cool with the free trader as well. So let's keep going.
All alliances provide shared visibility, and external trade routes grant additional food when trading with cities with camps and pastures. The recipient of the trade route receives additional gold per camp or pasture. Creating and maintaining high-level alliances will bring you economic and political success as Poundmaker, and your traders will be invaluable to extending your empire. Researching pottery right away will get you off to a quick start as you extend your land and begin sowing the seeds of friendship with your neighbors.
Right here's an example of what I was talking about earlier, where you have a couple cities of your own that and these are actually got closed borders, which is good to see, where you're cutting off this path. Let's say the settler right here, I'm guessing this is the Netherlands right here, because obviously we see her up there in the top right corner. Let's say she wanted to come over here and settle on the eastern side of this map. Well, you've just cut her off. Now, granted, this exact instance, she could go around the city to the north or probably to the south. But, if those are coastal cities, or, you'll be able to cut off the landmass a little bit better. It's an example of what you could do to prevent people from going to where they want to go and keeping all the good land for yourself. So I kind of like this. That's pretty cool.
Will you stand united and strong with your allies? How will you lead the Cree in Sid Meier's Civilization 6, Rise and Fall?
All right, so the Cree. My take on them is that they're going to be just a really, really strong early game civilization. You're going to get that early trade route. You're going to be able to expand some of your borders a little bit quicker with that trade route moving around. Again, not necessarily directed exactly where you want to go, but still, it's a border expansion. That's always going to be good in the early game. You're going to get the early scout that's stronger, so you're going to be able to scout further, scout longer, because he's not going to die as quickly. Potentially, you could use him as a little bit of a combat, especially if he gets out there and gets some experience from scouting, and get some of those further later in bonuses to experience. They make him a little bit stronger as well. You never know. You're still going to, I think, want warriors and archers and things like that, but being able to still have your scouts relevant to your military is kind of cool. And then, getting the trade route bonuses, those are going to last throughout the entire game, plus the alliance, the fact that you can see the alliance things, which is, okay, a cool, nice to have, not necessarily a need to have. But yeah, some of those bonuses are going to last throughout the entire game, which is cool, which is nice. But I really, like I said, I think the Cree are just an incredibly strong first, 50, 100 turn game civilization that just try and get as much visibility on the world as possible, trying to get those unique improvements out as quickly as possible and the trade routes out as much as possible, and really try to get your early cities just really producing much faster than the guys around you. And, hopefully you can expand quite a bit and really get your civilization off to an early, strong start. Now, the mid to late game, you've already got all your bonuses. You're not getting anything new later on down the road. So it's not like you're going to kind of get stronger. You're just really hoping that your early game sets you up for a good mid to late game. And I think you do have a good chance with that, because scouting is so crucial in the early game, and getting some of those early trade routes is just going to make a huge difference, I think, in the long run, especially with money, production, food. I mean, the works. It's a great early civilization. I think I like them a lot. Maybe not the strongest one we've seen from the Rise and Fall stuff, but still a really, really strong, like I said, just first 50 turns civilization that you're going to be able to set yourself for a long, good game. So I like them a lot. But yeah, I do appreciate you watching. Hopefully you like this, or, feel free to comment, and hopefully you join me again next week when we see what else they've got coming. Thank you, and goodbye.